So the other day, my son and I, we slow cooked our first brisket. Now, as any Texan will tell you, there are a million ways to screw this up.
Emotional damage.
Yeah, if you don't smoke the brisket right, you're gonna end up with a slab of meat that's undercooked, overcooked, dry, raw, burnt. And you can get all that in one slab of meat that, by the way, is incredibly expensive. But despite all the things that could have gone wrong, I'm proud to say after 24 hours, and as a Texan myself, I was very impressed with the results. Now, I'll admit we did use a pellet smoker, and I'm a bit biased, but that doesn't negate the results and brings up the question, how did we get so close to perfection on our first try? Well, the answer is, well, we watched about half a dozen highly ranked YouTube videos on how to cook a Texas brisket. And we did find one in particular that we both resonated with, and we just followed the directions the gentleman gave to the best of our ability. Yeah, it turns out that learning from others who have been there, who are experts, is a great way to increase the likelihood of your success and avoid mistakes. So, my question to you, when it comes to living a good life, what instruction manual are you following? What system, what process is keeping you on the right path? Who are you learning from? Who's coaching you? What map are you following? Do you have a compass to show you the way? Is it even working? Do you know what to look out for, the warning signs to preventable mistakes? The uncomfortable truth, gentlemen, is that the majority of men out there are living a life without direction. They're going through life based on randomness, chance. There's no design. There's no clarity of purpose. There's no proven map with a destination. Now, some of you guys may be saying, Antonio, that sounds nice, but I gotta pay rent. I gotta make money. I gotta put food on the table. I'm trying to build my career, maybe even find someone to spend my life with. No, I totally get it. Physiological needs, safety and security, love and belonging. There was a guy, Maslow, years ago that talked about this, the hierarchy of needs. And if you're focused on those bottom three, you're not thinking a whole lot about your full potential. But here's the deal. Once you start to feel comfortable with your physiological needs, with your safety and security, with your love and belonging, all of a sudden the next two, fulfilling your self-esteem, reaching self-actualization, these needs start to feel as real as the bottom ones. And if you haven't aligned the other areas of your life with building your self-esteem and reaching self-actualization, the incongruity here, the lack of alignment, can lead to a crisis. So, how to start living to your full potential? So to quote Jimmy Buffett, I've been seeking that answer to that question that has bothered me so. And in my case, I first looked to frameworks, to first principles. The reality is there's a million hacks, a million things out there that you could be doing, but I knew that I needed to focus in on the most impactful. Like the Pareto principle says, the 20% that yield you the 80%. Next up, these principles needed to be proven, both by research and I would prefer them to be time tested. So the older the principle is, the more I liked it. And finally, with these principles and techniques, they had to align with my view of the world, with my experience. They had to make sense to me. The result, I'm calling it the HWP 10 system. Yes, I know, not the best name, but it's what I came up with for right now. In a nutshell, I've got 3 areas of life in which I stay focused, and with that, I've got 10 habits that apply to each of those areas. Now, I created this system over the last decade for me. I've read a lot of self-help books, a lot of religious text, a lot of philosophical text, and I paired this with one of my favorite series of books, the Aubrey Maturin series, which is a 21-book series of nautical historical fiction. So here's how all this makes sense. As an analogy, you are a ship out on the open ocean. This is you traversing the world, dealing with storms, dealing with waves, and like a ship, you are made up of various parts. First, we've got your health. This is the hull of the ship. Now, for any of you guys that have sailed, you know that it's the hull of the ship that gives the ship the strength and stability to weather the storm. It's the backbone. It's the frame. It keeps the boat from taking on water. A strong hull, like strong health with a man, is required to be able to live a good life. Next up, we've got wealth. These are the sails of the ship. They're the engine. They're what propel the ship through the water. Your sails, like wealth, provide speed. They provide momentum. They provide the ability for you to be able to cut through the waves and reach distant destinations. Without wind, without sails to catch that wind, the ship will stall. And finally, you've got purpose. This is your ship's navigation system. You have a compass, you have a clock, you have a map, you have stars at night. All of these tools help you find your way on a vast ocean when you're dealing with waves, storms, and darkness. Without your purpose, without your navigation system, you would drift aimlessly no matter how strong or fast you are. And notice how these 3 components are inseparable. Without health, you don't have the energy to build wealth and to go after your purpose. Without wealth, you don't have the strength or security to go after improved health or your purpose, what you've been put on this planet for. And purpose, although it seems like it takes a back seat to health and wealth, it's what makes the whole journey worthwhile. In fact, as you get older, you realize that purpose is really the driving force between you taking care of your health and your wealth. Now, if at this point you're saying, well, this sounds really interesting, but I don't need another YouTube video telling me what to do. I actually just need to do it. If that's you, you're looking for a like-minded group of warriors out there looking to live their best life, to reach their full potential, well, down in the description of today's video, I'm linking over to my new group, Health, Wealth, Purpose. Now, straight up, this group is really small. I interview every single person that makes their way into this group because the reality is most men aren't ready for what we do in this group. It's daily accountability. It's improving yourself 1% every day to become the man you know yourself to be. We meet up weekly via Zoom. We've got a set course that we're following, and this ain't no 3-day course. We're talking a minimum 3-month commitment. So if you're interested, check it out. I've got a link to HWP down in the description of today's video, but if not, no big deal. Just enjoy the video. All right, so now let's talk about the 10 habits, and each of these apply to the HWP, your health, wealth, and purpose. So first up, you've got to discover your North Star. You need to have clarity on what you want out of this life. With your health, that means getting specific. You need to define what optimal health is to you, not what society pushes on you. Let's take the craze of six-pack abs and being at 8% body fat. The reality is that's not actually a true sign of health. And if you really think about it, it's probably not exactly what you want or is realistic for your lifestyle and other things you want to include in your life. I know for me, I want to be flexible. I want to be agile. I want to be able to run and keep up with my kids. I want to be strong and mobile into my 80s and 90s. The same thing with wealth. You've got to have set clear financial goals. With clarity on your wealth goals, you should have specific numbers that you're going after. Are you defined by those numbers? Of course not. But talking and planning in numbers takes the ambiguity out of your planning and allows you to get a lot more specific. With your purpose, you need to define your core values, the meaning that you want to get out of this one life that you're living. Next up, you got to be sailing with urgency. You need to commit to the voyage, know what your why is, and use that to power through. With health, I know for me, it's my kids and my future grandkids and even great-grandkids. I want to be around. And not only do I want to be around, I want to be useful. I want to be somebody that my grandkids actually like hanging out with. That guy in his 90s that's still using his mind, providing value to those around him, and is able to move around on his own, not be confined to a bed. I've seen that, and I do not want that future. For you in wealth, what's the necessity there? I know for me, it's about bringing my family together. I want to invest more in real estate and have the type of homes that my entire family can come to and that I can pass wealth on to my children and their children. And your purpose, why does it matter? Now, guys, really quick, I want to be clear. I am not telling you how to live your life. Gents, figuring things out for yourself is the only freedom that anyone really has. Use that freedom. Make up your own mind. Seriously, gents, what I'm providing here is a tool. You have to do the thinking. You've got to determine what's right for you. Next up, strengthen your spirit, generate energy. So when it comes to health, the actions you're taking here should be making you stronger. Find a type of exercise that you love. I know for me, it's calisthenics, it's running, it's going on long walks and hikes with my wife. Comes to wealth, when it comes to industry, when it comes to making money, find a path, find a skill that for you is play, but to other people is work. And by doing this, you're literally generating power, you're generating energy in yourself, yet to other people, you're getting stuff done. And that, gents, is how you find your calling. And with purpose, when aligned with your health, when aligned with your wealth building, all of a sudden you're making more energy because everything is aligned. Your work is meaningful. The next habit is to brave the storm, to demonstrate courage, to be able to choose the route. And you've got the confidence, you've got the belief in yourself that you're going to be able to figure this out. So you have the courage to take that chance, to go after, to sail through the storm, to have the courage when others around you are faltering, and to be able to reach your destination. The next habit is to lead the crew, to inspire other people to follow you. In health, this manifests itself by you actually leading by example. If you want your partner to get off the couch, how about you set up a date so you actually go on a walk with each other? You go on a hike. You give her what she wants, time with you, or even out walking and shopping, and maybe set a spend limit. But yeah, agree to go to that huge strip mall with her, but insist, hey, let's walk around. Let's get a couple miles in as we go from store to store. When it comes to purpose, if you've already got this lined up, you know what yours is, maybe you can share it with others, not trying to push it on them, but asking them for constructive feedback. Are you living up to these principles? And the very act of sharing this with somebody and asking for them to give feedback may actually get them to rethink their own purpose as well. The next habit is to find joy in the journey. Now, you may have noticed up to this point, I haven't talked about happiness at all. And my reasoning for this is I don't think happiness should be a goal that you're going after, despite what modern society says. No, happiness for me is a byproduct of you living up to your potential. I mean, think about it. The things that have made you happiest in life, has it been actually getting them, or has it been the struggle, the journey, all the work, all the effort that you put into to be able to achieve that goal? But once you get it, most of us are setting another goal. So develop the habit of finding joy in the journey and have gratitude for the health, for the wealth, for the purpose that you do have, even at this point, even when it's not much. The next habit is to learn to weather the waves, to cultivate resilience. A woman named Angela Duckworth wrote a great book called Grit. And I love this because it talked about really what does it take for somebody to succeed. She went over and she studied some of the U.S. military academies and she looked at the people that dropped out. And they couldn't figure out exactly why because they all had pretty good grades. There wasn't any one indicator, but then she started going and looking under the surface and she realized the people that dropped out, they scored poorly when it came to resilience, when it came to the grit, as she called it, to be able to deal with all the little things that constantly hit you in life and can drag down a lot of people. But if you've got strong resilience, and this is a muscle that you can build, all of a sudden you're able to bounce back from failures. Because if you're looking to improve your health, if you want to improve your wealth and purpose, you are going to have times in which you're going to have failures. You are going to hit walls. You're going to have certain points in which you just stall out, times in which you have to start over. And it's at this exact point that having resilience and having built up that muscle matters. The next habit you need to cultivate, course correction. Whenever a boat is going from New York City to London, how many times do you think it's thrown off path? Same thing with an airplane, flying from New York to London. How many times? 10, 20? The answer is more like tens of thousands of times. And that airplane, that boat, is constantly having to course correct. New information's coming its way. It's being affected by the outside elements, by the wind, by the weather, by the temperature. All of that forces the autopilot to make small adjustments so it stays on course. The same thing applies to your health, wealth, and purpose. When you get that blood results back and you find out, okay, I've got higher cholesterol than what I thought. Okay, this is hereditary, but I'm going to need to make some adjustments to the food I'm eating, maybe to the exercises I'm doing. Maybe I need to get more sleep. Same thing with wealth. You wake up one day, you're 52 years old, and you realize, you know what? I need to have more saved here. I need to make some adjustments. Gents, there's nothing wrong with this. Be open to adaptation. Now, this next habit becomes harder as you get into your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, and I'm talking about evolving as a captain. Being committed to being a lifelong learner. Because the reality is, as you age, your ego usually gets bigger. Hey, I've got all this experience. What can I learn from a 20-year-old, from a 30-year-old? Well, probably a lot if they've got experience in an area that you know nothing about. In fact, my definition of old is somebody that's rigid, somebody that doesn't evolve, somebody that doesn't change, especially when new facts are presented to them. And in fact, getting back to that book series I talked about at the beginning of this video, Jack Aubrey and Stephen Maturin, what I love about the play of these two characters is that Jack Aubrey comes off as this, cocky, he knows everything, new captain, but it's this introduction of this really odd character who becomes his ship's surgeon and eventually his closest confidant. These two guys play off each other and learn from each other. In fact, with the program I was talking about earlier, Health, Wealth, Purpose, we have a mastermind component in it. And I was initially going to call it the Maturin Mastermind, but I didn't want to I realized, okay, I can't deal with any copyright issues. Point being, though, is I look at the guys in this group as the Jack Aubreys. They are the captains, the heroes of their lives. My job is I'm this guy over on the side that's going to ask them good questions. It's going to say, have you thought about this? Because when you look at all the information out there in the world, this is what you know, 1%. This is what you know you don't know, that 4% out there. And the remaining 95%, this is what you don't know that you don't know. And the scary part about that 95%, that is conservative. I'm sure it's actually a lot higher than that, probably like 99.99. Because the reality is, gents, to live a good life, this is work. It is hard, especially when you go it alone. So if you're interested in learning more about my like-minded group of warriors out there working, busting their asses to live their best life, check out what we're doing. I'm putting the link down in the description over at Health, Wealth, Purpose. I've got a short video over there where I explain more about what we're doing. And if there's a good fit, I would love to talk to you about joining. Again, the link to Health, Wealth, Purpose is in the description of today's video. So what to watch next? Well, gents, come on. I've got you covered, the raw realities of being a man. Probably one of the better videos I've made in the last couple years. I just really, I get a little bit vulnerable in this video. And I think it's a solid video. So check it out. If you haven't watched this video, if it's been a while since you watched it, go watch it again. A solid video. I'm proud of it. Go check it out.